guys, welcome back to Fins and Whiskers. My name is Shine, and in today's video we are going to go over safe herbs for gerbils. Now I've been meaning to complete this list. We've got safe veggies and we've got, I think that's all we've got. No, I did go over safe flowers. We are going to go over flowers again in this video. Technically flowers are herbs, so that's what we're going to do in this video. So the first one we're going to start off with are wild pansies, and the whole plant is safe for gerbils. They can eat the flowers, they can eat the leaves and the stem, and so it's one of the best flowers you can give them because they can eat it all as long as it hasn't been treated with pesticides. And the way that you can know this is to, if you're growing it yourself, wait about a month, because those who do use pesticides, they don't usually last that long, and especially if they're selling it, they're not going to use the pesticides that are expensive and last years. So definitely you probably would be safe with just a month waiting, and then when you grow it yourself, well, you know that you won't be using pesticides to keep it pest free. Now there are ways to do it without pesticides, and if you want me to go over how to take care of these plants, because I know a lot of these on the list are something you won't find in the supermarket. Some people on Etsy sell dried flowers, but just make sure that they are saying that it's for consumption, because those will be the safe ones. But these are completely safe. The next ones we are going to go over are, well, there's two different ones here, so I'll go over the oregano first. Now, oregano is a herb. In this video, I probably won't be going over the benefits as much, just because they all have vitamins and minerals and they're pretty good. So, but I will be going over if they are a bit stronger and should be kept in moderation. Now with oregano, you do want to keep it in moderation as compared to, say, basil in the herb list. And things like rosemary and thyme would also be something you want to keep a bit more in moderation to, compared to other greens, because they do have a medicinal effect. And the other one is sweet alyssum. It is a flower, and it's growing kind of crazy in this pot, but it smells like honey. Oh, I love these flowers, and they have such good variety of colors, but right now they're they have a lot of buds, but just not in bloom yet. So, but the flowers don't really last that long. Anyways, oh yes, okay. Not only are the flowers safe, the flowers are pretty small, but also the leaves are also safe, and you can feed these in addition to all the other flowers. You can feed them dry or you could feed them fresh. Just make sure that you are counting fresh greens, and all of these, if you're going to feed them fresh, make sure that you do keep the moderation in check with feeding them their salads because of the water content. Now if you're feeding them dry, you can sprinkle it around their bedding, and it could be a bit more than you would feed fresh, except for the ones that have a medicinal effect, which are going to be oregano and thyme and rosemary and those sorts of things. So I probably wouldn't dry those and feed them like you would other flowers and things. But those are two varieties that you can feed your gerb. Speaking of herbs with medicinal effects, thyme is another one that is very safe for gerbils, but you do want to keep it in moderation and a bit less than herbs like basil or peppermint, because it is kind of strong. It's not super strong, but it is in a way where you don't want to feed it every day, maybe even once or twice a week, and very little, because it does have good effects, but you just don't want it to be too much for them. But it is a great herb, and it grows so fast and so bushy, so you'll always have for them. And they are good for other uses in gerbils that I will go over in another video, because thyme is actually a great plant to have around for most rodents. Calendula or pot marigold is another great flower, that you can feed your gerbils. And I love including the dried ones in the mix that I have my own recipe on, and I do have a video on that if you're interested. But I love this flour. It's super beneficial for them. You can dry them and sprinkle it around their bedding so freely, and it's just a wonderful flower. Now the whole plant is safe, so you could also feed them the leaves, although I would try to feed the leaves sparingly because these leaves do have to be washed pretty thoroughly because they do have kind of a sappy protectant that they use to get pests to stick on them, so they can't really interfere with them. Now it's a kind of resin. Now you can wash it and it'll be safe, so it's not going to be a plant that you have to worry about very much. It's not a harsh toxic, but you do want to wash it before giving it to them, or you could just avoid them and give them the flowers, which is a bit easier to remember. But it's a great plant. Now I also want to go over there is another plant known as marigold, and this is pot marigold, but I like to refer to it as its formal name, which is calendula, because the other marigold, which I will put a photo of, is actually not safe for gerbils or rodents in general. It's toxic, and so I do want to avoid the confusion. Make sure that you know that it is calendula and not the Tagetes marigold, because that will not be safe. And I do have the plant. Now here I do have the marigold that is not safe for them, and as you can see, the leaves are very different, and even the flower buttons or buds where they are going to bloom. Oh god, I'm so scared of throwing. Okay, where they're going to bloom is kind of more of a, what's it called? There's a word for this that I'm forgetting. Maybe I'll put it in text if I can find it later, but these are not the safe ones, and the leaves are very distinct, so you'll definitely know which one it is, and to avoid this one because it is not the safe marigold. Calendula or pot marigold is the safe one, so just make sure that you are getting the right one. The other flower I want to go over is actually the popular sunflower. Now I do have a sunflower here. It's actually a dwarf varieties, which I really love because these are kind of perennial, so they always grow, and you can grow more than one sunflower on the same stem. And they can be grown in pots, but it is in a very large pot right now, and so I'm not going to hold it because it's pretty big, but it's right here, if you can see just a little bit of it, but it doesn't have a bloom yet. It's pretty young, so, I mean, it did have blooms, but I cut them off because they are new to me. I didn't grow it from seed or anything, so, but anyways, I'm getting off track. They are a great flower, and the leaves are also edible, and both the leaves and the flower petals are very beneficial for gerbils. You can feed them like you would any other green. You can also dry the flowers and sprinkle them around without worry, and you can also give them the seeds of the head of the sunflower. Of course, the seeds are something you want to feed them sparingly because they are high in fat. You would feed them like you would feed nuts, and which is usually once a week or two. So that's sunflower. Now the other herb I want to go over is actually companioned with my red leaf lettuce, which is kind of tall and heavy, so I'm not going to bring it over there, so I'll be talking here anyways. But basil is probably one of the best herbs and easy to find in supermarkets especially, and to grow for your gerbils. They're not as medicinal as the other herbs, so you can give them a bit more often when you're feeding them the greens, and you can also give them dry, and Gerbils go crazy for these. They're one of the few scented or strongly scented herbs that pets go crazy for. My rabbits also. I'm pretty sure they can smell it right now because once you shake basil, it fills the room. It's an amazing scent. And they're begging me actually right now. You can't see, but I'll have to give them some later. But gerbils will go crazy for them, and I wouldn't see why not, because basil is so delicious. So it's definitely one of my favorite herbs to recommend, and that is completely safe. And the last one that I am going to go over is the ever so popular peppermint. Peppermint is in the mint family, and most of the mint family is safe, so regular mint would also be safe, as well as what other mints are there? Oh goodness. Lemon balm? Is that a mint? Spearmint is also safe, but harder to find. I haven't found spearmint. Anyways, peppermint, mint, it's all good. Now it is a little bit more medicinal, so you do want to treat it like oregano, so don't give them too much, maybe once or twice a week. But they also go crazy for them. It smells so good, just like basil. Again, also like oregano, it's one of those scented herbs that they actually don't mind at all. Most anyway. Everyone has their preferences, so do gerbils. But it's a great plant. It grows like a weed, and so it's and also you probably will find this in supermarkets as well, which makes it easier to find compared to the other flowers and herbs. Like oregano, I don't think you can easily find them fresh in supermarkets. Dried, yes, but in really small pieces. But anyways, great plants and herbs. But that is it for this video. I hope you found it helpful, and if you have any questions on any other herbs that I may have missed or not gone over, feel free to comment down below and ask me, and I'll tell you if I know and researched if they're safe. Or if there's any other herbs that you know are safe, feel free to list them below and tell me which ones your gerbils go crazy for. But that is it, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching. Bye!